Well, we continue with our culinary tour around the county and we land now in the town of Caerphilly, where we're going to meet Claire from Plant to Plate. So I'm going to pass Claire over and she's going to make one of her very popular dishes, one of her chicken curries.
Thank you, Phil. And I've got a little assistant today. I've got Abigail, my daughter, with me straight from school. So we've been family affair today. What we're going to make is chicken macaroni. It's probably the most popular one I do in the shop. And I'm normally doing sort of a batch of about 20, 25 at a time. So it's been quite difficult bringing the recipe down to a quantity that is a household portion, because we're normally having the leftovers from everybody else. So it's quite difficult to do small portions, but we're going to try our best for you. So we're going to start with, the first thing we're going to do, we've got chicken thighs that we're going to marinate. So we're going to start with the marinade. They're all quite complicated recipes, but they're all things that you can double up, treble up, quadruple up if you like, and freeze, or either, in the case here, these are some of the spices that we're going to be using in a bit. You can basically sort of do them in double, treble quantities and keep them. And then it makes it nice and easy. Whenever you want to make the recipe again, you can just literally throw all the ingredients in and you've got them already. All the tricky bits are all done, so it makes it a little bit easier. So we're going to start with the marinade. Okay, and the first thing that we need to go in is a medium-sized onion. So I'm going to start with the onion, and what my daughter is going to do, she's going to start going through the list of spices and putting them in for me, aren't you? So the first spice that's going to go in with the onion is going to be 2 teaspoons of garam masala. That's that one there, yeah. So if you can put that into the jug for me, move that way. Okay, 2 teaspoons. Okay, so 2 teaspoons, and bring it to there so you don't spill it, yeah? Nice and tidy.
Is this something you do at home quite often? Do you and Abby cook together?
No, she's actually, she's not the chef in the family, the mini chef. The mini chef is Thomas, who's Thomas is just in Abby's 10, Thomas is in high school now. So they've just started doing cookery classes in school, which obviously at primary school level they don't really do that. So he's just come back. Funnily enough, he's just had a cookery day today where they made flapjacks. And as you know, Phil, I was making quite a few flapjacks last week.
You certainly did. You made 500 flapjacks last
501
week?
flapjacks.
Oh, 501. I stand corrected, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I did 501 flapjacks last week, and then I got told that Thomas had to take the ingredients in to make flapjacks. And they were all in the shop, so I had to go and buy them all again. Okay, so the next ingredient, is 1 teaspoon of cumin is going in.
So talking about the shop, tell us about the shop.
Well, I've been going about, it's about 17 years now. And only originally sort of worked from home in Macon, and then I moved over then to the shop because I just sort of outgrew it, and obviously with dogs in the house and family getting bigger, I had to. So the shop is primarily a catering shop. This is where I do all my cooking, but I also in the last probably 5 years I've changed it over. Give me a second. That one is 2. Okay, we're now on 2 teaspoons of paprika. So I've changed it over to it's a refill shop as well. So obviously everybody's had to adapt. Definitely this last year, but I'd already switched it over to a refill shop and specialising in local produce. So I have local meat in there, I've got Welsh cheeses. I try and get as much Welsh veg as I can, but it's quite difficult to get hold of local veg at the moment, especially because of COVID, because they're all doing it themselves, the farmers at the moment. Obviously they found a market there, so they're going direct. Okay, so we've also got 2 cloves of garlic going in, so they're going to go in there as well. Right, and what's your next one on your list, Abby?
Lemon juice.
Okay, half a lemon juice. So if you can squeeze that in there as well for me. Okay, give it a good squeeze into there. So that's that one.
It smells like lemonade.
It does smell like lemonade. And then we're going to move on to the one we like in a minute. We like doing the ginger, don't we? Good squeeze, get all of it in. And again, everything that we're making now, you can do it in a bigger food processor if you like. And then just put it in, like a little sort of Tupperware tub and pop it in your freezer, and it works fine from frozen then. Okay, is that enough? Okay, so there's the garlic going in. Right, we need to do ginger. Now, Abby knows the secret to this. This is a little pro tip that I found from somebody. The way to peel ginger. Do you know the step?
I don't know.
How you peel ginger?
Show me.
With a teaspoon.
Okay.
I was spending years, for years, I was trying to peel ginger. What you do it with a teaspoon, you basically hold the back of the teaspoon like that, and the whole of the skin comes off in one go. Like that. Keep going if you like. The whole thing, the whole thing comes off. You don't waste any of the goodness because all you've taken off is literally a bit like sort of A bit like scraping a new potato. So, you think you do it all? Got it? You have to go the other way. From that way. And pull down towards you. That's it. There you go. All right. So we're going to also put in now, we're putting in about 1 inch of ginger. Go. Enough?
You're not very good at this.
You're doing all right. Stop. Stop.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm awesome.
So we're going to put 1 inch in this one. We're going to keep it here because we're going to need some again in a minute. So you don't need to put things in here too finely because obviously we're going to be blending them up anyway. But the ginger, because it's quite fibrous, you do need to do that a little bit smaller than the onions, or you'll end up with big chunks in it, and you don't really want that. Okay, so let's move that out so we can
There
do
is
that
a
easier.
mess on the book.
Yeah, that's okay. Right, so what else do we need to put in there, babes? Let's have a look. Garlic, ginger.
Yogurt.
We've got a chilli.
Yogurt.
One chilli, yeah, yogurt goes in a minute. And the only other thing you've got is salt. So if you can do, a little salt. That's a little homage to our chickens. We have to bring a chicken with us, didn't we? Okay, can you put in, we want half a teaspoon. So if you can pour it onto there for me. Half a teaspoon of salt.
So you say with the shop, you mentioned you're a refill shop. So can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean basically the refill side of it is you bring your own tubs and containers in, and that's the chilli going in there. You bring your own tubs and containers, and it's basically the old-fashioned sort of scoop and save shops. I think they used to be a few years ago, didn't they? We have the basics: rice, pasta, all the things that typically, so from the supermarket, would come in plastic. So instead of having to use a new plastic bag for your pasta, a new plastic bag for your rice, you just bring your jar in. And everybody loves now, in their kitchens, they've got the lovely big Kilner jars and the big jars for spaghetti, and they look nice, and then you put them on your dresser or whatever. So, but that's the main sort of premise of it. Is to save the plastic. I mean, some things we can do a lot cheaper than supermarket spices and things, but there's other bits that we can't compete with the supermarket, but people still like to be able to buy it that way. So we stock what people want, really.
And you do that across your range of spices and...
Washing up liquids. You've got, there's dog food in there at the moment. You've got all the dried fruits, you've got flowers, washing up liquids, clothes washing powders, basically everything, dishwasher liquids.
Excellent.
Pretty much everything really. Bubble baths, shampoos, so. And it tends to be, it's things that we use as a family as well. So if we use it as a family, it is complete zero waste, because if people don't come and buy it, we've got it. So. Right then, okay,
There's lemon juice all over my hand.
We've got lemon juice everywhere, I think. Right, I think we've got everything except for the yogurt. So what we're going to do, we're going to give it a quick blitz before we put the yogurt in, because that just makes you make sure then you're getting it sort of properly mixed up, because otherwise the yogurt tends to sort of disguise the fact you haven't chopped it properly. So what we're going to do, put that in there. Okay, do you remember how to do this?
Yep.
Kind of give it a big blitz for me.
I'm very smart.
Okay, you ready? Go, it's a bit noisy now. Go. Okay, that's good. Okay, stop. Okay.
There is a fly.
There is.
Very suspicious.
Right, so we're going to put in here. The next thing that goes in is the yogurt. Now we want 200 ml, so we're going to do a bit of a guess on this. We didn't bring jug for the ml. So this is a litre in here. So we're going to pour it to about there. Oops. Rain, that's about enough. What do you think?
Yep.
A bit more. And then we can put some back if we don't need it all. Okay. There you go, that over there. Okay, if you put the lid back on again, give it another blitz for me.
I love blitzing things. It's
There you
just
go.
satisfying.
Go. Okay, stop. Right, and that is the marinade done. So ideally, with the marinade, you want to marinate at least a couple of hours or overnight. These are chicken thighs that we're going to use because they seem to lend best for sort of like slightly longer cooking. I mean, we're not going to cook it for long. We're going to cook it for about half an hour till the thighs are cooked. At the moment, I've been buying the boneless and thighless ones. What you will need to do, I won't do it now, obviously, because it'll be on my hands, but if you buy the boneless and the skinless ones, give them a good squeeze anyway, just to make sure there's no sort of little tiny chips of bones in them, because quite often they do miss a bit. So just to make sure that it is completely boneless. You don't want to break your tooth on a bone as you go through it. Right, okay, so we're going to pour this on. You don't, do you? So like I said, I mean, you can use as much or as little as you want, really. If you want to put some back in the freezer, you can. I think should we use it? Yeah, we'll put it all in today.
Use it all.
Use it all today, won't we? Okay. Right. Okay, that in there, that in there, that down there. Okay, we'll give that a little bit of stir around. Okay, so like I said, that would normally be a couple of hours. I have done it, I have cooked it straight from here, and I mean, it doesn't make a massive difference, but it's nicer if you can leave it longer, just let the flavours go through it. Okay, so that is our marinade done. Okay, so the next step is to move on, let's put that out of the way over here, to the sauce. The sauce again can be frozen, so you know there's lots of elements of this that you can keep things back and just make life a little bit easier for the next time. So we'll give that a little quick wipe because we're going to use that one there. Okay, right, put that there. Okay, so if you get your spoon ready for the next bits, and I need you to pass me some butter, please, if you can.
Butter.
Okay, all right, so we'll just get this warming up a little bit. But if you can put a little bit of butter in there for me, okay? If you use the teaspoon, okay, because we'll need that one again in a minute. Put a little bit of butter in there for me.
How much? 2 scoops?
Yeah, 2 scoops would be good. I say you can use butter or oil for this one. Okay, I'll shove along to the left a bit, thank you. Okay, and again, we need a medium onion. It's very, very similar to the ingredients in the marinade. It's another medium onion, it's another couple of cloves of garlic, and another 1 inch of ginger. So it's very, very similar ingredients, but obviously different spices now go into that one. So if I get this, okay, can you put this in there for me in a second and give it a stir around? Okay.
Okay,
And we're just going to roughly chop it, and the reason it doesn't matter what size you chop it to is because it's all going to get blended again in a minute. A chicken makhani, traditionally, obviously the Indian butter element of it, it's always a smooth sauce. So you won't find, or generally you won't find peppers in there or mushrooms or anything else. It's always sort of blended to smooth to serve it. Right, okay. Can you keep an eye on that for me? It's starting to, that's doing nice, okay. Hang on, there we go, it's back on again. Let's move that across there so it doesn't go off. Move that over there for a minute. We need another bowl. Okay, so you're going to look after this for me. Get that all simmering and sizzling. Okay. Okay, so you do that for me. So Abby's going to keep an eye on that for me. Let's turn that up a bit. Okay, and like I said, so another couple of cloves of garlic.
You talked earlier about Plant to Plate being in existence for the last 17 years, yeah?
Yeah.
So what?
where did that time go?
What brought you to Plant to Plate in the first place? And where did the name Plant to Plate come from?
The name originally was, originally I came to it from redundancy. I had an option of redundancy, which I wasn't sure whether to take it, but then I thought, well, do I want to be in the same place for the rest of my life? Or do I take the option now when it was quite a nice redundancy and I was only, hang on, how many years ago did you say? Hang on.
17.
31. Oh, God. Feeling old now, Phil. When I was 31, so, you know, the option of having quite a nice bit of money to be able to start a business at 31 is quite a luxury that not many people get, I suppose. So I thought I'll take the gamble and started it then. And I was unsure whether to go for a cooking or a garden business because I grow a lot of veg, not as much now because I'm obviously a lot busier, but I used to grow an awful lot of veg and cook from what was in my garden. So that's where the name Plant to Plate came from, because it's literally coming obviously straight. And so there's lots of permutations of garden to gourmet, different things like that all come from the garden. So that's where the name came from originally. How are we doing that, babes? Just turn that up a
All
little bit.
butter's melted.
That's okay. Let's get those a little bit softer. There we go.
No one likes hardened.
Yeah, so it came from there really, but it was just by chance redundancy came up. But I had been doing sort of a gardening course in the meantime, and as far as the cooking side of it, it was just a case, I would go. We were driving sort of to Cardiff every day, doing a big long commute back and through all the rush hour, and I think nothing of spending 2 hours making fresh pasta when I got home. That was my relaxation to do it, and luckily I still do enjoy cooking. So as you saw what I made this weekend for my birthday, so I still enjoy doing it. My relaxation now is the gardening side of it, because that takes me away from the kitchen and from work. So.
I think the first time that we met was when you were involved with Rudrick Kitchen.
Yes,
which
long time
was
ago, isn't it?
certainly a long time ago now.
Yeah.
And at that point, you were making ready meals that you were selling from, or making your home kitchen and then selling in that way, and selling at market as well, which is something you still do.
Not as much, purely because obviously when COVID hit, a lot of the markets all stopped, and I started relying on the shop because obviously I'm a essential supplier. I was able to so the whole of COVID I stayed open, but I switched to delivering to all my vulnerable customers. I've got a lot of older customers, so they were coming and doing sort of a doorstep collection, and we were also doing deliveries to them as well. So that's been brilliant. So I mean, a lot of those customers, new customers that hadn't dealt with me before, and they've stayed with me for the whole year. So I've done okay. I mean, obviously all the hot catering contracts all disappeared because of COVID, but you know, the ready meals bit is still very, very important. I mean, I've had a load of people asking me last week because I was busy doing all your flapjacks and your sausage rolls for you guys, asking me for meals, and I said I just haven't had time to do them. You know, I've been too busy doing everything else. So yeah, it has been a bit of a learning curve, sort of switching and doing different things. But
and something else that I noticed during the whole lockdown period, that you started doing sort of ready-made boxes of a complete meal.
Yes, yeah.
Or
I think because people obviously couldn't go out. Yeah, it was like a treat box. So obviously people couldn't go out to a restaurant or they couldn't go out to a pub for a meal. So I was trying to do like a different theme every weekend. So it's like a stay at home, like a date night at home sort of thing, or a kiddies, you know, a family meal. So we did Mexican meal, and I did everything authentic. So I was making my own churros. We did a nachos cheese sauce. We had the salsa, quesadillas. We were doing all sorts, and basically doing a nice not just a chili con carne. It was quite an authentic Mexican meal. We did the curries as well, and I did my homemade samosas. So it was a different theme, but it got to the point where I didn't have to advertise it. To start with, obviously, you know, you'd get a few people like, oh, am I going to have enough people interested? And then by the time it got to the second or third one, people were ringing me up on the Sunday or the Monday, or texting me, saying, what is it this week? And that was like the thing they were looking forward to the Friday, because obviously there wasn't an awful lot to look forward to. So what's our treat this weekend? What are we doing? So it was a little bit of pressure having to think of something. So I had a bit of a breather after Christmas. I haven't done them back yet, so I will do them. But I mean, obviously with summer now coming up and everyone can go everywhere, and we're travelling around, there won't be as many of them, but there will be some coming back. So, but no, they were very good.
I'm quite sure they were very, very popular. I know I had a couple of different boxes from you, and they were, you know, really.
Well, we only did things that we liked, that we wanted to eat at the weekend. So we planned to make it. Everyone collected it on the Friday, and it always did a spare box or two. So if the boxes didn't sell, that was our treat for a Friday, Saturday night. You know. So
like I said, the key lime pie was.
Key lime pie. That was particularly your favourite. Yeah, I do seem to remember you asking for that one. I think, did you win that one? Which was only
I did win that one.
You won it in a competition. There was no cheating involved either. Right, how are we doing? Okay, so they're all softened up now. So we're now going to go for the rest of the spices. So my little spice assistant is going to carry on. So the spices again. All these spices that I'm about to put in here now, I'm going to put them in. We're going to do them one by one, okay? But what you can do, you can grab yourself a big jar, and the quantities that we're doing now, you can just double or treble up the quantities, and it looks very pretty. I mean, you obviously have to shake it to use it, but I love doing these because it looks like the old sand art pictures that we used to go on holiday, and you have the little glass figures that I love them. So it's quite nice and seeing all different layers. But this is just an example of what you can do with it, and I keep one at home like this. So obviously I don't take all of these out when I do it at home. I've got a jar like this, and it's had a good shake, and you just go 2 of them. Simple. You haven't got to look, you haven't got to measure, you don't need to know what it is. So that's also a good tip. If you've got a recipe you know you're going to reuse again, weigh them all, or weigh them out, measure them out into one of those. But to show you what goes in it, okay, so we've got 1.5 tablespoons of garam masala. Garam masala, there we go. Okay, and that can go straight in, babes, okay? So it's tablespoons for this one, okay? Now, I know this isn't a tablespoon, but the tablespoon doesn't fit in the jar. So we're going for a heaped one of these. We're going to call it a tablespoon. The measurements are not precise, because all
but it's still tasty.
Because we can always test it again at the end. Okay, so 1.5. So that's 1, and then another half of that one. Okay, look at that. And then when you've done that one, the next one we're going for is paprika, which is here. There we go. And that's that one. Paprika.
Same amount?
1 for that one. 1 tablespoon of paprika. That one's done. Fabulous. And then 1 cinnamon. That's sort of the secret to this dish, because a lot of people say it tastes a lot different to other curries. I'm going to put cayenne in it, so it's got a bit of heat, but it's got a different flavour to normal curries. I mean, I do a madras as well, and a couple other ones, but the cinnamon is what gives it the sort of slightly stranger flavour.
I didn't know there's cinnamon in it, to be honest.
Right, we want cumin next. So kind of cumin for me. There you go.
Cumin.
So 1 of that again. It's all quite straightforward. It's like one. You know, the easy one
Do
to
you
do.
happen to know which part of India it comes from?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I just always known it as makhani. It's Indian butter chicken, isn't it? What it's called, sort of generally. And that's what most people know. If you ask most people, tell them it's a makhani, they won't know. But if you say it's a butter chicken, oh right, yeah, I'll have that in the takeaway, so they know what it is then. Have you done the cumin yet?
It was
right, that one is fenugreek. Fenugreek. This is another thing. Not a lot of people do have that in their sort of cabinets, but if you call in my shop, you can have the exact quantity you want without having to buy a jar, and it'll probably cost you about 5p for the quantity you need. There you go. So 1 tablespoon of that, and that's a heady sort of smell, that one, the fenugreek. Very, very strong smell.
It looks very leafy.
It is very leafy, that's what it is, a leaf. Okay, and then the spicy one, which you don't need very much at all. We might add a little bit later on, because we like it spicy. But this is the cayenne pepper, okay? So this one we need 1/2 teaspoon. Don't do any more than half. No more than half. Go on, or you won't eat it. Go. 1/2 teaspoon in. Okay. So
How spicy
give it a good
is
stir. Okay, so that's all our spices in. We're not going to add any salt to this one because at the very, very, very end of the recipe, the thing that gives it the name, the butter chicken, that goes at the end. And the butter is salted, proper salted butter. So we don't put any salt in at any stage in this cooking until right at the very, very end.
Do you put like yogurt in or something?
Okay, yeah, that's it's going to be cream later on. Okay,
Alright.
so the next thing, we're going to start the base of the sauce now. Tomato puree.
Tomato puree.
Okay, I'm going to need 4 tablespoons of that one.
Alright.
So you might find that's about the right number.
I love
double check.
tomato puree. It
Okay,
smells
off
so
you go.
nice.
Big spoon one. You're probably going to need all of that, I think. Okay, so put
I
all of
just
that
put it all in.
Yep, put all of that in.
All of it.
Yep, the whole thing, scrape it all in.
You'll love tomato puree. Oh, kind of sizzly today.
Okay, brilliant. And then we need a tin of chopped tomatoes. Here, give me that one.
Whole tin.
I don't think we need a spoon again, so I think we're okay.
Whole tin?
Yep, hold in. Put that there just in case you need another spoon. Okay, shake it. There you go. Thank you. Okay, we haven't got any water. Normally I rinse them out to get the water, but we'll give it a tap instead. Okay, give that a really good stir for me. Really good stir. Actually, we will put a little bit of water in that one. A little bit of water there. It needs to be a little bit more liquid. So put a little bit of
Are you
water in there.
using mine or your water?
That's mine. And then we get all the bits out of there. Don't like wasting anything, so get all the bits out of it. There you go. So give that a really good stir for me.
Already smells like curry, to be honest.
Okay. Right. Now the next thing we need, big bunch of coriander. I love coriander. For this part of it, we're going to just use the stalks. All right. I mean, you can use the leaves, but I tend to keep the leaves for the end because it looks lovely on the top. But we could probably use about half this bunch. So I take the ends off the stalks, and then you just need to quite finely chop because it doesn't need to cook for an awful long time, to be honest. Because we've obviously already sorted all of the onions, and then it's going to go. It doesn't have to, but I put it back in the oven then, so you don't need to sort of overcook it at this stage. So there we go. So I would say probably about 2 tablespoons of coriander stalks. Around that. Okay.
Are we going to blitz this after?
We are. You're going to do it very, very soon.
Yeah.
Okay, right. You need to also put in for me half a lemon.
Again?
Yep. Half a lemon, that one. It's always quite similar ingredients.
Just getting rid
Okay,
of the
go for it.
pip.
Right. Okay, right. So what we're going to do, we're going to leave that one. That one now needs to just simmer down. So it doesn't take very long. So we'll give it a little sort of 5-10 minutes to simmer. So while we're doing that, the one that we marinate needs to go in the oven, and we put it in for about half an hour. So all you need to do, there you go, that one's looking good. Let's get the board to put on. And we've got a cloth somewhere, there we go.
I need the cloth for my lemon hand.
There we go. So all we're doing at the moment, we're just making sure the chicken is cooked. So you want to keep it moist. All right. So the chicken is now cooked. Now what I tend to do, because obviously the marinade that we did had an awful lot of flavour in it. There was chilies, there was ginger, there's garlic. And if you find that the sauce is looking a little bit thick, what I do is, if you can very carefully move out the way, you can try and do it with one on that one, see if I can do it.
I need the towel.
What for?
Because
We're
my
going to put a
hands
little
are
bit of the
lemony.
sauce in there. Okay. Just
the towel
save
now?
it going to waste when we do that. Okay, we're doing tougher.
Because
Okay.
my hands
That's
smell
okay.
like lemon.
Right, so that's that marinating. Now once that's all finished, these are obviously the thighs that are waiting now for the sauce. Now you can either, when that's finished, you can have it as it is, or you can put it back in the oven. So we're going to sort of have it as it is in a second. What we need to do is we need to blitz the sauce. So that's the bit that gets it lovely and smooth. So we're going to say, so let's say this is all done, which it's not far away. So we're going to give it a little bit of a blitz. This is the fun bit, isn't it, Abby? So put that there.
My favourite bit.
Your favourite bit, is it? Right, so we're going to get one of these. I'm going to turn that off now. Okay, you want to leave that going for an extra 10 minutes, okay? So give it an extra 10 minutes. I'll turn that off now. Right. So what we're going to do, you're going to be very carefully. You ready?
Hopefully.
Go for it. Okay. So we're basically going to try and get it as smooth as we can. So keep it down.
I'm
in there.
scared.
Go. Go. Okay, smooth it around. Go. Okay. And this is off the heat now you're doing this. So you're trying to get the air into it and try and cool it down a little bit. Because we're going to now try and keep it flat or it'll fly everywhere. Keep it straight like that, okay? Always keep it angled down or it'll start flying everywhere. That's it, looking good. Okay.
My
Perfect, there we go.
hand's shaking.
Right, so now we've got it all blitzed down. Let's have a little look. Give it one more quick turbo.
Why don't you trust me with turbo?
Need to ask? There we go. Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to very slowly add in the double cream. Again, you have to do this off the heat. So double cream, we need 200 ml. So again, all the quantity is quite easy once to remember, but obviously give me a shout or message me if you need the recipe for it. So we're going to go 200 ml. So we've got a 600 ml in there. Go on, so we need to go down to about there. So are you going to blitz it or are you going to pour?
I'll blitz it.
You're going to blitz it. Go on then. Blitz it while I pour.
Can we stop?
Go.
And as wonderful as it's been watching you create this recipe, if you're really lazy like me, this is available quite often in your shop. Is that all right?
It is, yes. Yeah, and I'm giving away the secret recipe as well. So perhaps I won't sell as much in the shop now. Although it is quite a complicated recipe. But I say that's why obviously it's easier to do batches and put them aside. But I know most people just for household, they wouldn't. They do it the once, whatever. So hopefully they'll still come back to the shop
Can
to buy
I put
them.
it on turbo?
And
No, don't need turbo. Okay, need them?
And for just for purposes people know, to let you know, you sell your ready meals frozen.
Fresh on a Thursday and Friday.
Okay.
And then they go in the freezer. But they've all been tested for 4 months in the freezer. So yeah, but they're in quite big quite big sized portions. Got a couple of thighs and so yeah. Right, so that's the cream in there. Okay, and now we need the butter. And the butter again, all of this is done off the heat. Okay. Now if I show you, if you can have a little look, I don't know if you can see in there. It's all ready. So that's the consistency we're going for. It's lovely, lovely, thick and creamy. Okay. So we're going to get rid of that. Actually, you can use that actually to give it a stir for me if you like. You don't need to blitz anymore, just hold on to that. Okay, and with the butter, the easiest thing with the butter is to just drop it in little pieces and you just let it slowly melt. And it looks like it's separating, but it won't. It'll slowly all come together. And you just get like little tiny pots of butter melting as they drop in. Okay, and the total amount we need is about sort of 4 tablespoons of butter. So it's not for the faint-hearted. And if you're watching your calories, no good if you're watching the calories.
Just made a weird noise.
Yeah, just keep mixing it. Okay. Right, you keep doing that. Right, if I start by getting the next bit we're going to do, we're going to put it in on top of the chicken now, and we're just going to cut up some coriander. I absolutely love coriander. I would have it on everything if I could. That and basil, as you can probably tell.
I like the
They're
smell
the
of
2
coriander.
everything, aren't they, Abby? Coriander and basil.
I like the smell of them both.
They are, aren't they? They're lovely. Okay. So again, we've got sort of a nice handful of the coriander there. So all those out of the way.
Does this look good?
Yeah, that looks perfect. Is it all mixed in?
Hope so.
So what you need to look for is make sure there's no sort of little puddles of butter. It's all mixed in. There we go. And we have got a lovely macaroni. So remove that. Put that with that into over there. Okay. And then, like I said, it's all fully cooked, so you can eat it at this stage if you really can't be bothered waiting and you just want to eat it straight away. So you literally pour it on top. Leave all the juices in there as well. Keep all that flavour. And those quantities that we've done, as you can probably see, even though we only used obviously the 1 tin of tomatoes, you've got enough there for another meal that you can then put in Tupperware, which is what we're going to do over here, and that can go back in the freezer. So you've got another meal ready to go then. And then all it needs is we're going to sprinkle it like that. Now that would normally go straight back into the, straight back into the oven, just to brown it off really. But obviously if you're going to serve it, and if we can find a big spoon, where's our spoon, Abby? There's our spoon there. If we use that there, you'll see. So, and we used about 800 grams of chicken thighs, which is generally, they're quite big ones. So these are generally, it's usually about 6 or 7 thighs is the number you get. All right, so we find that's enough sort of for a family-sized portion. There we go.
When it's 8, you can have 2 each.
There we go. So that's your chicken macaroni, and we've just got some little naan breads with that, but obviously serve it with whatever you would like. You first in, you can dive in yet?
No,
It's all cooked, promise.
That's absolutely superb. Thank you, Claire. Just
okay.
one thing
Yes.
we need to point out. Where is your shop? We haven't
My
said.
shop is above the railway station in Caerphilly, so you can't miss it. It's literally on the bridge opposite St Martin's Church. We've got there's 6 parking spaces there as well, so if you're worried about coming to top town or you can't walk very far, drive up. We've got free parking right next door to the shop. And failing that, we're also starting back next week, so obviously we'll start back very, very soon. We're starting back our sort of click and collect because with obviously some of the restrictions being moved, a lot of our vulnerable customers are quite worried about going into supermarkets again. So we're going to start doing the doorstep collections again. So that's going to be starting
All
soon.
the information can be found on your website?
On my website or on my Facebook page. Facebook will get the quickest information because that's obviously instant. And any specials that I do tend to. So if I'm doing macaroni that day, you'll know about it because it'll be on Facebook. So you can, can I have one of those, and I'll put them back for you. So
and all your details are also on our funded website, which is ourpantryonline.wales.
They are indeed.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Claire.
That's all right, no problem. Thank you. Thank you.